Hey, it's your boy Cal, and I went and bought Mardu Surge. Let's open it up and see what's inside. I've been playing a lot of Dragons of Tarkir, Dragon Storms of Tarkir draft, and I'm digging the set. I'm not gonna lie, I like it. And I figured I'd get one of the commander decks and see what neat stuff they have. Boy, that does not want to come out. Okay, well, there's the collector pack sample. There's the box, and got a little poster. Does it have a picture of Zurgo inside? Oh, it does. So you could like totally collect all five of these and then, I don't know, put them on your wall. Have some Magic the Gathering artwork. I don't know anyone that does stuff like that. There's some punch out tokens. I'm not usually particularly a fan of those. But I think, for players that don't have infinite resources as far as the game goes, it's probably nice, especially starting out. So I just think that I don't like that they have pokey edges because it can hurt Magic cards. So I think we're gonna do the collector's pack sample first. Little packs like these, I prefer to use the scissors to open them, and I wish that there was a spring on these scissors. Maybe this is supposed to be on the outside of, I don't know. Anyway, grab the Leatherman here. Oh, there we go. That's working. It's springing correctly. That's exactly what I was hoping for. And then we can just slide these bad boys on out. Oh, maybe not. Maybe we're going to split it here. So we want to be careful. After all, it's a collector's pack sample. There could be like a Black Lotus in here or something. I mean, not really. Not a real Black Lotus, but we got a advertisement card. Okay. And we got a Thunder of Unity full art. Oh, that fits the deck that we are playing here. So draw two cards and lose two life. And then the next two phases are when a creature enters the battlefield or enters this turn, each opponent loses one life and you gain one life. Could be very cool for a Mardu token style deck. And we got a Armament Dragon. That's a card I liked. And that border is tight looking. Whoa. Look at that holographic. All right. I no longer have buyer's remorse. That Armament Dragon's probably worth like 12 cents. But that's just sick looking. I don't even care if it's not worth anything. All right. So we'll take those, and then my very, very clean desktop here. I hope it's clean. Feels clean. So we're going to crack this open. Take a look. Do I need the scissors for this too? Hope I didn't just like rake that across a bunch of cards. Something neat is the way that that damage would occur. You'd be able to tell after you crack it open. Boy, this is trying to do this carefully is not always easy. Okay, there we go. And then, so what you do to look for damage like that is get all the cards lined up and then flex them slowly to the side, and you would see a line going across that gets folded out to be bigger. So you can look for systemic damage on magic cards that way. So anyway, yeah, but we sleeve everything in this house. So there's Zurgo, this guy right here, and he is Mobilize 1. I really like Mobilize. Whenever a creature token you control leaves the battlefield, draw a card if it was attacking. Otherwise, each opponent loses one life. Nice. And then we've got Neriv Crackling Vanguard. When it enters, create two goblins. And when Neriv attacks, Exile a number of cards from the top of your library equal to the number of differently named tokens you control. During any turn you attacked with a commander, you may also play those cards. That's pretty cool too. So it's a card advantage engine. I'm probably gonna go with Zurgo, um, just because we can also play all of like the impact tremor effects and all the blood artist effects in this deck. And now you're starting to see why I built it or why I bought it. So Inox Strike Leader, whenever you attack with this creature and or your commander, for each opponent create a 1/1 red goblin creature token that's tapped and attacking. Sack this creature. Creatures tokens you control gain indestructible until end of turn. That's pretty incredible too. Man, am I going to end up just sleeving this deck up with Dragon Shields and playing it? Iron Will Forger, at the beginning of combat on your turn, if you control your commander, target non-legendary creature you control gains Myriad. Once again, more tokens. Imagine putting Myriad onto something that also generates other tokens. So I want you to think about that for a second. So like you're playing a 4-player game of Commander, right? And then you hit the Iron Will Forger and you swing in, and I'm trying to think of a good example of a red, white, black card that makes a bunch of tokens. Um, like there's literally infinite of them. Siege Gang Commander, that could be a good one. So you play your Siege Gang Commander, or you attack against Myriad, then you create, two or three extra or two extra copies of it if it's a 4-player game, and then you get 4 extra goblins, then your Impact Tremors and your Pandemonium trigger, and then when they, I don't know, you sacrifice them all somehow, and then blow everyone out with Blood Artist. It just seems awesome. Will of the Mardu. Choose one. If you control a commander, as you cast the spell, you may choose both instead. Create a number of 1/1 red warrior tokens equal to the number of creatures target player controls. Nice. Or Will of the Mardu deals damage to target creature equal to the number of creatures you control. Also nice. Okay. We got a Bone Devourer, Flying Flash. This creature enters with a number of 1/1 counters on it equal to the number of creatures that died this turn. When this creature dies, you draw X cards and you lose X life, where X is the number of counters on it. That's probably something that I'll cut. I'm not a big fan of this type of payoff. I know a couple of my friends have cards, decks that are built around this kind of a mechanic. Um, so we'll see if I play it or not. Within range, so it's 4 mana again. That seems to be the golden number in this deck. When this enchantment enters, create 2/1/1 red warrior tokens. Whenever you attack, each opponent loses life equal to the number of creatures attacking them. Ooh, that's spicy. I think I also need to get, was it Judith that gives all of your guys +1/+0 when they're attacking, and then um, they do 1 damage when they attack? I think that sounds right. Goldlust Triad. That's one of the more expensive cards in this deck. So it's a myriad. When it deals common damage to a player, create a treasure. I don't know if I'm going to keep that in here because it doesn't really fit like the small tokens theme that I like. So that might get cut. I'm going to put that aside. Infantry Shield, equipped creature has Menace and Mobilize X, where X is its power. Rad, I like it. Redoubled Storm Singer. For a strike, whenever this creature attacks, for each creature token you control that entered the battle entered this turn, create a tapped and attacking token that's a copy of it at the beginning of the next end step. Sacrifice those tokens. Wow, that's Gnarls Barkley right there. Adeline Resplendent Cathar needs no introduction. Whenever you attack for each opponent, create a 1/1 white human creature token that's tapped and attacking. As the children would say, based. Angel of Invention. Yeah, it's a Lord and Fabricate 2, Flying Vigilance Lifelink, very good. Commander's Insignia. Creatures you control get +1/+1 for each time you've cast your commander. Nice. That's awesome with a cheap commander like Zurgo. Um, Divine Visitation, yet again. I don't know how many times I can get this card. It seems to never sell on TCG Player. I don't know why it is, but here you go. Emeria Angel. And let's see, Flying Landfall. Whenever a land you control enters, you may create a 1/1 white bird token with flying. I love that card. I used to play a ton of this card in Standard. I was on green-white landfall for a long time, and then realized splashing red to be able to play Blaze was really good. Oh, pardon me. Uh, Maybe it was Fireball. I can't remember which one it was at the time. Grand Crescendo. X and 2 white. Create X 1/1 green and white citizen creature tokens. Creatures you control gain indestructible until end of turn. That's a great payoff card. Hero of Bladehold. Man, Battle Cry. When it attacks, create 2 guys. So good. Classic. Hour of Reckoning. Destroy all non-token creatures. 7 mana. Uh, Legion Loyalty. Creatures you control have Myriad. Woof. Selfless Spirit, that's a pretty great card for these go wide creature decks. Gets indestructible. Sun Titan, I don't know if Sun Titan's going to be good enough. Um, Enters or attacks, return a target permanent card with mana value 3 or less from your graveyard to the battlefield. Usually you want to play some kind of like recurring sack artifact with that. Takasi is welcome. Whenever one or more creatures you control with mana value 3 or less enter, draw a card. This ability triggers only once per turn. Still a card draw in white. But we're also in black, so do we really need that? Question mark. Twilight Drover. When a creature token leaves the battlefield, put a 1/1 counter on this creature. Pay 2 and a white, remove a 1/1 counter, create 2 white spirit tokens, so it's a spirit engine. That's pretty cool. Is there a Bitter Blossom in here? Chittering Witch. When this creature enters, create a number of rat tokens equal to the number of opponents you have. Pay white and or colorless and a black. Sacrifice the creature. Target creature gets -2/-2 until end of turn. That's pretty cool. Eliminate the competition. Destroy X target creatures, but you have to sack X creatures. That's also one I'm not really a fan of. Gix Yawgmoth Praetor. Colorless and 2 black. Whenever a creature deals combat damage to one of your opponents, its controller may pay 1 life if they do draw a card. Deals combat damage to one of. Okay. Pay 4 and 3 black. Discard X cards. Exile the top X cards of target opponent's library. You may play lands and cast spells from among those cards with exiled this without paying their mana cost. That just seems. That seems a little Timmy combo player. I'm not super into it. Mindblade Renderer. Uh, Whenever your opponents are dealt combat damage, if any of that was dealt by a warrior, you draw a card and lose 1 life. Interesting. Not being able to May ability it, I don't know. I'm on the fence. Could be a lot of card draw though. Oh, Phenomancer, that's getting cut for sure. I mean, at the beginning of each upkeep, it makes a snake, and then if you control no snakes, and it's not just your upkeep, which is nice. I know in early Commander this card was incredible, but I feel like it's outclassed now. Yahenni, Undying Partisan. Haste. Whenever a creature an opponent controls dies, put a 1/1 counter on Yahenni. Sacrifice another creature. Yahenni gets indestructible until end of turn. I'm not a big Yahenni fan. Grenzo, Havoc Razor, 2 red. Whenever a creature you control deals combat damage to a player, choose 1. Goad target creature that player controls, or exile the top card of that player's library, and you can play that spell until end of turn. Yet another one I'm not like super thrilled about. Legion Warboss. Mentor, at the beginning of combat on your turn, create a 1/1 red goblin creature token. That token gains haste and attacks this turn if able. That's okay. Mentor also feels kind of small for this kind of a deck. I think you probably have better go wide options. I'd maybe even play like something with Battle Cry over that. Whenever a non-token creature, or whenever another creature you control enters, that creature gets +2/+0 in haste until end of turn. Ogre Battle Driver. I feel like that's a proper token payoff. Siege Gang Commander. Already talked about it. When this creature enters, create 3 goblins. Sacrifice a goblin. This does 2 damage to any target. Yes, please. I forgot that it was 3 and not 2. Tempt with Vengeance. Create X 1/1 red elemental tokens. Each opponent can do the same. Uh, Elemental creature tokens with haste, yeah. For each opponent who does, you create additional ones for yourself. Um, I've never had a lot of luck with the Tempt with cards, but we'll keep it in the maybe pile. Kaya, Geist Hunter. So creatures you control gain Death Touch until end of turn. Put a 1/1 counter on up to 1 target creature you control. That's pretty good. Until end of turn, if 1 or more tokens will be created under your control, twice that many tokens are created instead. Ooh, yeah. Very cool. Blade of Selves. Equipped creature has Myriad. Tight. Idol of Oblivion. So that's a draw card. Activate if only you can create a token this turn. 2 mana. Pay 8 and tap. Create an Eldrazi. I think this ability is a red herring, and that ability is really good. So we're gonna rock it. Mere Battlesphere. It's kind of a token mainstay. So 7 mana, 4/7 comes in with 4 1/1s. Those 1/1s can tap to give it +X/+O until end of turn, and deals X damage to the player that or planeswalker it's attacking, just by tapping your mirrors. So you got the big old mirror ball. Solemn Simulacrum goes in every commander deck. Battlefield Forge, wonderful land, big fan. Canyon Slough, love it. Castle Ardenval, I think that's probably fine. 4 mana is a little much to make a human, but when you get into endgame stalemates, that's probably a good breaker. Castle Embereth, on the other hand, goes hard in this deck. Creatures you control get +1/+0. It's so good. Cave of Kolios, standard fare. Clifftop Retreat, yep, it's a commander deck. Dragon Skull Summit. Exotic Orchard. Fetid Heath. We're just cruising through the lands here because there really isn't much to say about them. Isolated Chapel, Shattered Sanctum. These lands will never be worth money ever again. Smoldering Marsh, Temple of Silence, probably going to cut the temples. Temple of Triumph. Vault of the Archangel, excellent include. Right proper in this deck, 100%. Windbrisk Heights, none of the stuff in this deck is expensive, so I don't really know if I want to play a hideaway land. I think that's kind of a liability. Shadow Summoning, create 2 1/1 white spirit creature tokens with flying for 2. Sure. Got a Lightning Greaves, always a pleasure. Skull Clamp, amazing in any token deck. Arcane Signet, naturally. Soul Ring. Look at that. That art's cool. Command Tower, wouldn't be a commander precon with that one. Golden Knight Commander. Whenever another creature you control enters, creatures you control get +1/+1 until end of turn. That's pretty good. Lingering Souls, I was wondering if this was going to be in here. Release the dogs, create 4 dogs for 4 mana. Stroke of Midnight, destroy target non-land permanent. Its controller creates a 1/1 white human. Swords to Plowshares, naturally. Bastion of Remembrance. So when it enters, create a human. Whenever a creature you control dies, each opponent loses 1 life and you gain 1 life. So that is a Blood Artist on an enchantment. Makes it harder to remove. Bitter Triumph gets to kill a creature or planeswalker, and you have to discard a card or play 3 life. That seems really good in Commander. Deadly Dispute. It's an additional cost to cast this spell, sacrifice an artifact or creature, draw 2 cards, and create a treasure. I don't know about that. Draw 2 cards, create a treasure, and you have to sack an... I don't know about that. I feel like we can do better. Morbid Opportunist. Whenever 1 or more other creatures die, draw a card. This ability triggers only once per turn. Viscera. Sack outlet. Sack a creature. Scry 1. Braid. 3 damage to a creature or destroy an artifact. Solid choice. Beetleback Chief. Enters, create 2 goblins. So where's my Restoration Angel? Loyal Apprentice, Haste, Lieutenant. At the beginning of combat on your turn, if you control your commander, create a 1/1 colorless Thopter artifact creature token with flying. That token gains haste until end of turn. Nomad Outpost. Triland, obviously in the deck. Aaron, Benalia's Ruin. So we got Menache. Tap, sacrifice another creature, put a 1/1 counter on each creature you control. That's spicy. I like it. And then we got Thalise, Reverend Medium. At the beginning of each end step, create X 1/1 white spirit creature tokens with flying, where X is the number of tokens you created this turn. That's pretty cool. Felwar Stone, naturally. Talisman of Conviction. That makes sense. Talisman of Hierarchy. Sure, sure. Wayfarer's Bauble. This deck has a lot of low to the ground costs. I don't know if we'd play Wayfarer's Bauble. I might cut it. Bajuka Bog. Always nice to have some graveyard removal. Path of Ancestry. Shelter or Shattered Landscape. So that's one of the new Modern Horizon 3 fetch lands. Terramorphic Expanse, obviously getting cut for real fetch lands. Is the rest basics and tokens? I think it is. So obviously I'm going to put my own basics in this deck. That's fine. Treasure, Goblin, Human. That's a nice looking angel. Bird. Eldrazi. Yeah, Warrior. And then we got the other side. Elemental, Servo, Citizen. Goblin, Mirror, Thopter, Spirit, and Rat and Soldier. Spirit. Okay. Well, overall, I feel like a lot of what I would expect to be in this deck is in this deck. No Blood Artist, no Zergo cut, or yeah, oh gosh, I wanted to say Zergo Cutthroat, but it's Zulaport Cutthroat. I also don't see Impact Tremors, Perforos, which I mean, Perforos might be a little bit expensive to put in this deck. I think maybe Iroas might be good in here too. Restoration Angel to flicker your token generating creatures, or even something like Conjurer's Closet, or I can't ever remember the other one. Trying to think what else I would look at for this deck. Impact Tremors, maybe Pandemonium. Maybe Pandemonium's not right. In Dragonstorm, there's the 4 mana enchantment that gives all of your attacking creatures +1/+0 and then mobilizes. Um, Actually, I think there's a lot of Dragonstorm of Tarkir cards missing from this. The white-red enchantment, that could be good. The black-white one could be good. Or even the Mardu one that we pulled. Um, where did I put those? Like this would be a solid choice, especially if we're just like slamming out tokens. So Thunder of Unity might go in there. I feel like there's a lot that we could look at to go into this deck to add to it. So there's definitely going to have to be some reviewing going on for me to figure out what else I want to add to this deck. But I think out of the box, it feels like it's playable enough to a degree that it's worth buying. I feel like it was a good purchase. A lot of value in there. The TCG player market price of all of the cards in the deck is nearly $100. So if you wanted to buy everything individually, had to pay shipping, all of that stuff, you would probably be looking at spending like 140 or 50 to pick up the whole deck, just with how shipping works on low cost cards. But it'd probably be pretty reasonable to pick it up for 100 if you were looking out for deals or trying to wait to combine shipping, things like that. Um, yeah, definitely a solid list. I look forward to sleeping it up and playing it. And I thank you very much for joining me on watching this. So hit me up. I am at Lylanthia on X.com. I am Lylanthia on TikTok, Rumble, and YouTube. So, if you want to see some more of my content or shoot me a message on X.com, tweet at me, whatever you feel free to. Thanks for watching, and I hope you have a great day.